Fucking Giuliani. This guy, talk about, this guy's an arch criminal. And
I think you're probably right about that.
I'm going to make a prediction. Yeah. Rudy Giuliani dies in prison. I hope so, because...
Yeah. I mean, he did that for that thing.
I'm asking him for a favor. I emailed him yesterday, and I'm asking him for a favor, so we'll see. Actually, I'm going to see if he's responded to me.
Like a little pardon type favor? Maybe?
Yeah.
A little something?
A little something.
There's not a payment to Giuliani involved with this.
Right? Giuliani. That's another thing we can talk about.
What did he do to you? Let's take that tangent.
Fucking Giuliani.
This
Giuliani. Guy, talk about, this guy's an arch criminal. And
I think you're probably right about that.
I'm going to make a prediction. Yeah. Rudy Giuliani dies in prison. That's my prediction.
I don't know that you'll be wrong about that.
So, I have been actively seeking a pardon from before I even left for prison. I was convicted in 2012 of violating the Intelligence Identities Protection Act of 1981. It's an incredibly obscure law. I'm one of only two people that's ever been convicted of it. And the other person was actually a spy for the government of Ghana, right? So the guy that wrote the law...
They have those?
Imagine. Imagine.
Shots fired.
She was screwing a Ghanaian intelligence officer.
Oh.
And she gave him the names of all the CIA spies in Ghana.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice of her.
Yeah, she got far less time than I did. She got 8 months. I got 23.
Mm.
And I never did anything like that.
Right.
The guy that wrote the law that I was convicted of violating, Morton Halpern, former Assistant Secretary of State, Assistant Secretary of Defense, and Senior Director of the National Security Council. Morton wrote a letter to President Obama saying that this is not why he wrote the law and that I should never have been charged in the first place. So I've asked several important people.
And we'll come back to that story later, by the way. I want to let people out there know. I just don't want you to get off this.
Several important people to, put in a word or sign a letter. I've had some success this year. That's an ongoing process. But anyway, during the Trump years, a Republican friend of mine said, oh, you should talk to Rudy Giuliani. Rudy's got the president's ear. If anybody can get you a pardon, it's Rudy. Do you have a path to Rudy? And I said, I might. The former New York, what was he? The police commissioner.
Bernie Carrot.
Yeah. I think that was what his position was. When I first got out of prison, he emailed me and he said, hey, I think you and I should go to college campuses and do a speaking tour together. I said, hey, that's a great idea. Nothing ever came of it, but it was nice of him to reach out. So I emailed him. I said, Bernie, I know that you're still in touch with Giuliani, and I'd like to apply for a pardon from Trump. Can you put me in touch with him? So he says, yeah, I'll put you in touch with his guy. So he puts me in touch with Rudy's guy.
His guy.
Yeah. And I email him. The guy calls me. He says, actually, we're going to be in Washington next week. Why don't we meet at the Trump Hotel on Tuesday? And I said, okay, I get off at 2:00. How about if we meet at 2:30? And he said, actually, he says, Rudy is not very good by 2:00. And he makes this motion. Yeah. And I said,
can't believe I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. He says, it's going to have to be earlier. Let's call it 11. And I was like, oh. So I took the day off, right? So my attorney is also one of my best friends in the world. He used to be the Deputy Attorney General under Reagan.
What's his name?
Bruce Fein.
Shout out, Bruce.
Shout out to Bruce. Harvard Law, Berkeley, Deputy Attorney General, General Counsel of the Federal Communications Commission. The guy's done everything. He's an awesome guy. So Bruce and I go to the Trump Hotel, and
this is 2018?
2018. And I had hired, Bruce introduced me to a Republican lobbyist who had run the 2016 Trump campaign in Florida. So I hired her. And I go to see Rudy, and it's Rudy and his guy, and then some other hanger-on that I don't even know who it was. And we're sitting there. Thanks for seeing me. Nice to meet you. So we're sitting there, and Rudy's like, oh, the weather's great today in D.C. It's like, yeah, Yeah, it's really nice. And how about those Mets? It's like, yeah, great. I'm a Pirates fan, but the Mets are really good this year. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is he doing? So I said, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, you hit him with Mr. Mayor?
You have to, right? Boy. I said, Mr. Mayor, there's this issue of a pardon. And he goes like this, anybody know where the pisser is? And he stands up and he walks away. And I said to the guy, what just happened? And he says, you never talk about a pardon to Rudy. You talk about me. You talk to me, and I talk to Rudy.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, all right. And the guy says, Rudy's going to want $2 million.
Isn't this illegal?
Absolutely. This is a felony. Absolutely. Yes. So I go, $2 million. And I laughed. I go, look, first of all, I don't have $2 million. I will never have $2 million. Secondly, why in the world would I spend $2 million to recoup a $700,000 pension? So I said,
John Kiriakou answer ever.
So I said, I'm sorry for wasting your time. And Bruce and I got up and we walked out.
What did Bruce say to this? I mean, as
we were walking out, Bruce just said, criminals. Criminals. Well, that night I was invited to a book launch at the Republican National Committee. A buddy of mine had written a book. The Republicans love him. So I went. And there was another whistleblower there, Robert McLean, who's an awesome guy. Okay. Bob is a TSA whistleblower.
He's got whistleblower.
Yeah, and he's a serious whistleblower.
Someone wasn't wearing their shoes right.
No, this guy has sued TSA a million times, and he's won a million times.
What's the story there? Like, what did he blow the whistle on?
They were lying to us about air marshals being on the planes. There were no air marshals on the planes. And then, those super fortified doors so you can't get into the cockpit? They were fake. There was nothing to those doors.
You don't know why we're reacting like this. God. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Please do expand on that.
He actually designed a truly impenetrable door, got a patent on it, and TSA fired him. And then when the judge ordered them to reinstate him, they put him in a basement office with no windows and nothing to do. He played video games all day. So he sued him again and again and again, and he keeps winning.
What years is this?
Oh, it's ongoing. He still has suits pending.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Robert McLean. He's an awesome guy. You should talk to him.
All right. We don't cut things around here. We do it honestly. You have no idea why this is happening right now.
So I run into Bob at
Hold on. Yeah, I got to cut you off, John. Okay. This has nothing to do with you. But do you believe this?
I think we got to write up an issue of politics.
Yeah. No, I listen. We had a podcast number 168 with Ashton Forbes, where there were a lot of different arguments in there, and ended up creating a whole internet controversy and everything. And one of his claims, about 42 minutes into that podcast, was that, quote, he could get through. He said, I've sat in a lot of planes before. I've seen that cockpit door. I could get through that no problem, because he's an investigator for the MH370 disappearance.
Oh, sure.
And so we had evidence that showed that these doors were fucking plutonium and you can't get through them. And you are now telling me that even if they said that was the case, that's not necessarily the truth. So...
And not all the planes have the good doors.
All right, Alessi, pop in here.
I'll say, to your credit, though, the thing is, he didn't cite what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's like he's saying this, being that, you can get through the door, but it's like, we know for fact from what we're hearing that the doors are impenetrable, but if he cited your source, it'd be more compelling.
Right,
but the fact that he didn't, that's like, oh, wait, he's just running on this. Like,
Either way... Like, I pride myself on calling it like it is, including when we're wrong. So if that is the case, Ashton, on that point, I apologize. That's going to get clipped a lot. Hey, I always said I'm going to be honest with you. So please continue this story that's now...
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. So I'm at the RNC, and Bob walks up to me, and he says, hey, how you doing? I said, hey, I'm okay. How are you? He goes, how's your day? And I said, oh, dude, I said, listen to this. Listen to how my day was. So I told him. And he goes, that's a felony. And I said, you bet it's a felony.
Shit, Sherlock.
You bet it's a felony. He goes, did you call the FBI? And I said, no, I don't talk to the FBI. And I said, besides, what are they going to do? Just kind of smile politely and send me on my way? So our buddy, did his book reading and I left. A couple of days later, I'm at Bruce's office. Not for any reason. We just kind of hang out. And I get a call on my cell phone. And it's from Mike Schmidt at the New York Times. And he says, a little birdie told me that Rudy Giuliani tried to extort $2 million from you for a pardon. And I said, oh, that damn Rob McLean. I said,
he was a real whistleblower.
Right. And he said, he was so angry that night that he called the FBI and he reported it. And the FBI said, not interested.
For a blatant felony.
Uh-huh. So, and I'll circle back to that in a minute. So Rob is like, screw the FBI, then I'm calling the New York Times.
That's the next best thing.
And Mike Schmidt's a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner. He's a serious guy. He's a front page guy. So I told him the story. And he said, you willing to go on the record? And I said, Bruce, am I willing to go on the record? And he said, hell yeah, go on the record. Giuliani needs to take responsibility for what he did. So front page of the Sunday New York Times is, Rudy Giuliani tried to extort $2 million from me. So Giuliani, they call him for a comment. And he says, I have no idea who this guy is. Never met him before. And I said, Mike Schmidt called me back. And I said, that's funny. Then he doesn't remember us posing for a picture together.
Oh, no.
So I sent it to him. And so in the article, it says, Giuliani denied ever meeting me, never heard of me. And then it says the New York Times has seen evidence that the meeting took place. Yeah.
And they didn't publish the picture?
I don't remember if they did or not. They may have. I don't remember.
So interesting, though. Like they were that blatant about it. That's
yeah. It was ridiculous. Look at that. Giuliani. So months pass and it just kind of, that story goes away. But anyway, this lobbyist that I had hired said, forget Giuliani. I got you in with Sebastian Gorka.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't like that dude at all. I don't like him at all. He wears his father's Nazi party lapel pin. Yeah. Like he's not a neo-Nazi. He's an actual Nazi.
The lapel thing that blows my mind.
And you know why he didn't last at the National Security Council? Because he couldn't get an FBI.
Because he couldn't get a little FBI clearance.
And I want to slap that accent right out of him too. I hate that accent.
You think the accent's real?
No.
You don't think so? He probably talks like this.
He probably does.
President Trump has never made a mistake in his life.
Ever.
Not once.
I am the only non-Trump family member to be followed on Twitter by the president. Which is why I went to see him. So my lobbyist says, Sebastian Gorka's got a book coming out. There's a big party at the Trump Hotel, and we're going to get him. We're going to pigeonhole him for 5 minutes. Bring your checkbook, she says. And I go, oh, so that's how it's going to be, huh?
Oh, to Sebastian, too.
Uh-huh. So I said, you know what? I'm a big boy. I've been in Washington for more than 40 years. I'll bring my checkbook. So I said, how much is he going to ask me for? She says, he's going to ask you for $1,500. And I said, what do I get for my $1,500? And she said, he's going to tweet at the president, pardon John Kiriakou.
It's a cheap date.
Yeah. I said, all right, I'll spend $1,500 on that. Okay. But I'm not buying his book. Nazi. So I go to the Trump, and everybody is there, like every Republican member of Congress and Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson, everybody's there. So she takes me up to see Gorka, and he says, so you're the man who wants me to tweet at the president. And I said, if you're so inclined. And he says, give me $5,000. And I said, seriously? He goes, give me $5,000. And I said, I've been around for a long time. And I understand the nature of Washington, but I'm not going to let you shake me down like I'm some two-bit guy off the street. I go, fuck you. I turned around and walked out. And she's like, oh, that was just his opening price. He would have gone down to $1,500. And I said, fuck him. I'm not doing this. I said, these guys are all criminals. I'm not doing this. So I walked. Time passes. And have you heard of Noelle Dunphy?
I don't believe I have.
She was an aide to Rudy Giuliani. And he tried to get in her pants. And
Right.
And she went to the New York Times with her story. He tried to get me in bed. He sexually harassed me. He sexually abused me. He did this. He did that. And she's very, very bright. But most importantly,
yeah, she's bright, all right.
Most importantly, from my perspective, is that Giuliani went back to New York after our meeting, and he said, I tried to get $2 million out of this guy for a pardon today. And she kept that to herself until Giuliani put the moves on her. And then she called the New York Times and said everything John Kiriakou said was true. That he had confessed to her that night.
Oh, my God.
They tried to shake me down for $2 million.
All the years this guy's been around, and he's still dumb enough to get trapped by a nice red dress.
Yep.
Look at the title of this.
Yeah, could you imagine? Rudy
That
Giuliani
is
demanded
classic.
oral sex while on the phone to Trump. Could you imagine? Just scroll down so we
So-
can see that picture. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
Could like from a female perspective, could you? You can't give me all the money in the world to touch that.
No.
Sorry.
Not a chance.
Oh.
Not a chance. He's disgusting. She also
I heard
claimed...
he can't get it up either.
that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
It says there, she also claimed he went on alcohol-drenched rants. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the guy's wasted by 2 PM, then yeah, sure. I
Yeah.
could see his alcohol-drenched rants.
Unbelievable that that's the case. Yeah, when his wife divorced him, she put in the court papers can't get it up as part of the reason. She was divorcing him.
She or somebody close to her leaked those papers to the New York Times, and some of the things that were in them were revelatory. For example, he is a member of 16 country clubs. Can you imagine? He spends $10,000 a month on cigars.
On cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.